We're living in what's supposed to be the most connected time in all of human history. So why do so many of us feel more alone than ever? It's a huge paradox, right? And today we're going to get right into the heart of it.
So let me start with a question for you, and just be honest with yourself. Have you ever been in a really busy place, a packed subway car, a loud coffee shop, or even just scrolling through a social media feed with thousands of people and felt completely, totally, and utterly invisible?
If that sounds familiar, I want you to know you are so not alone in feeling that way. That little thought you see on the screen, nobody really knows me, that's a quiet thought playing out in the minds of millions of people. It's kind of like this shared secret in our supposedly hyper-connected world.
Okay, so let's just tackle this situation head-on. We're calling this first part the Great Disconnect. And, well, that's exactly what it feels like, right? It's this deep, strange gap between the promise of connection and the reality of how isolated we can feel.
And look, this isn't just a mood or, a passing phase. Experts are actually being really clear about this. What we're experiencing is a silent epidemic. It's a huge public health issue that's quietly spreading, often hidden right behind the bright glow of our screens. And calling it an epidemic, that's not just for dramatic effect. It's because the fallout from loneliness isn't just emotional. No, it's physical, it's tangible, and frankly, it's incredibly serious.
All right, get ready for this, because this statistic is an absolute stunner. Study after study has shown that chronic loneliness can be as damaging to your physical health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Let that sink in. It actually shortens our lifespans and tanks our immune systems. This isn't about feeling down. It's a genuine threat to our physical well-being.
So what do we really mean by loneliness anyway? It's not about how many friends you have on social media or how many people are physically around you. It's about that gap. That feeling between the deep, meaningful connection you crave as a human and what you actually have. You can literally be the life of the party and still feel intensely lonely.
So this brings up a huge question. Why does loneliness physically hurt so much? Why does it feel like a punch to the gut? Well, it turns out the answer is hardwired directly into our brains.
This is absolutely fascinating. Neuroscientists have discovered that when you experience social pain, that feeling of being left out or rejected, your brain activates the exact same regions that light up when you feel physical pain. So that sting of being excluded, to your brain, it's not that different from a broken bone. It's a primal alarm system screaming at you to reconnect with your tribe. But here is the cruel twist. If that alarm bell rings for too long, it traps us in this awful, vicious cycle. See, long-term loneliness floods your body with stress hormones. Then your brain actually starts to rewire itself to be on high alert for social threats. You start seeing potential rejection everywhere. And the paradox is, this makes it so much harder to trust people and form the very connections you desperately need.
And this cycle, it's just perfectly captured in this quote from a social media influencer. I have millions of followers, but no one to confide in. It's just such a powerful reminder that a massive digital audience can never, ever replace our fundamental human need for deep, trusting, real connection.
Okay, so that's the problem, and it's a big one. But, and this is a really important but, this is not a hopeless situation, not even close. Which brings us to our next section, where we're going to shift gears from the problem to the really inspiring solutions people are coming up with.
All over the world, in communities large and small, people have looked at this epidemic and just decided, you know what, enough is enough. They are actively and very creatively fighting back against isolation.
And this fight is happening on every single level. You've got grassroots things like community cafes and friendship clubs, which are just creating these low-pressure spaces for real face-to-face chats. Then there are bigger ideas, like digital detox retreats, designed to help us intentionally break up with our screens for a while. It's even being tackled at the government level. Countries like the UK and Japan have actually appointed ministers for loneliness to deal with this. They're all just different ways of trying to rebuild those authentic bonds we're missing.
And all this brings us to the road ahead. We have to ask a critical question about the very technology that often gets blamed for the problem. Could it also be part of the solution?
This, right here, is the next frontier of the whole paradox. Will these incredible new technologies, like AI companions and super immersive VR worlds, finally solve our loneliness crisis by giving us connection on demand? Or will they just push us deeper into our shells by offering a convenient, easy substitute for the messy, challenging, but ultimately rewarding work of real human relationships? Honestly, the jury is still out.
Because in the end, the tools we use will always change. But maybe the core solution is timeless. Maybe the answer isn't in our phones or our headsets after all. True connection starts with simple, human courage. The courage to reach out, the courage to be a little vulnerable, and the courage to truly see the person right there in front of you. Thanks for joining me.